me tonight. They got to see me.
I think if you got a guy like that, you build like that, 6'4", guy, you got to trust.
Everybody watching tonight. So I tell you what, if you get fired into the next, you're in the wrong business. We control this. We run this. And anybody coming out of the house,
they got Jordan Davis last season. They bring Fletcher Cox back in Philly. So I'm sitting there like, we need to put something on this offensive line to combat that.
Welcome back, everybody. The Dallas Cowboys housed the New York Giants 49-17 to extend their home game winning streak to 12. Talk to me a bit about how you're feeling.
Hey, look, we did what we was expected to do to them, man. 49-17, absolute blowout. And really, it wasn't even that close. You know what I mean? They had some garbage time stats. They got the last 10, but you got to think about it, man. Like 7 points through it, like 3 quarters.
Yeah.
The defense showed out, right? Hey, smothered DeVito, right? He didn't even know what he was walking into for the most part. And then the offense, man, everybody was clicking 49 points, man. We continue in that uptrend. So, you talk about like builders, right? Stacking wins, stacking good games like that. As far as the trends and what we're seeing, man, I think we continue to do so. Beat down. You know what I mean? There might be some talk about, oh, y'all just beat the Giants. We can't control who on our schedule, you feel me? Long as we continue to do things like this and beat up on the bad teams, hey, I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take it.
Yeah, it's definitely fun at halftime on a Sunday not to have to worry about stressing out about the game. But is that what it is? Are we just that team that beats up bad teams, or are we going to be competitive in the playoffs, do you think?
Well, I think we will be. I'm good because, I mean, people talk about bad teams, right? But if it was that way, they would get blown out by those amount of points every week. You know what I'm saying? I recall the Giants playing the Bills tough. I believe that game was like 9-14, right?
Mm-hmm.
San Fran beat them 30-12. But if you remember that game and you recall it, they was in that game like hitting it to it like close to the fourth quarter, and San Fran was able to pull away. Even the Dolphins beat them by 15. Why they didn't beat them by 30? You know what I'm saying? So I look at it that way. Yes, we beat up on bad teams, but I mean, hey, it was a time before we used to play down the competition. Right. So I'll take wins like this in a heartbeat. I enjoyed it. I was able to sit back with my feet up, do some stuff around the house while I was watching it. And, these ones feel good for sure.
No, you hit the nail right on the head with that one, man. This is what we're supposed to do to bad teams, and this is what QB1 is supposed to do in situations like that. You see the numbers here, 26 of 35, 404, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT. And it's crazy, too, because it was really like watching the varsity team go up against the JV squad. Dak throws a pick and just kind of was like, yeah, that's me. And that was in the first quarter. But it was like nobody was really stressed out about it, like at all. So the fact that we came out here and bullied a division rival and, as you mentioned, a bad team, like that's what you're supposed to do in this situation.
Yeah, Dak owns the Giants, man. I mean, it is what it is. From 40-0 to 49-17. I don't know what could be worse. Obviously, the shutout was a beatdown, but as far as like how we played, like that defense controlled that very first game to the point where it's like Dak didn't have to do anything.
Right.
But the difference is this game, the defense still stepped up, but Dak, like, he lit him up. You know what I mean? And you talk about the way that looked, the way he was under control, the throws he was making. I mean, it was times the offensive line didn't hold up, and Dak was still dialing them up, still making throws under pressure. One time the guy had his leg and he had CeeDee on the right side. I'm just like, look, man. Right now, Dak is playing at the MVP level. I don't care what anybody says. If you think back what he's done did, the last 3 to 4 weeks, like who is playing at a high level? Right. I mean, if you can pick one guy, I don't really think you can name two. You know what I mean? If so, we can have a debate. But, for what he's doing, I will say this. It seems like Mike McCarthy is finally like, he's been dialed it back and let Dak do what he do. And I kind of wonder, is Dak even calling some of these plays? Is he more involved going into it? Because while it was a lot of East and West things going into that San Fran game, ever since then, we've been definitely taking shots downfield, more aggressive. You see the one interception. I mean, one interception out of 10 passes, 404 yards, 5 total touchdowns. He's using his legs, got in the end zone again. Man, look, sign me up for that. Dak is on the roll right now.
Even against Philly, man, Dak has been dialed in since the bye week. Even before that, really – outside of the Arizona and San Francisco game, Dak has not played that poorly. We had our questions in those games, but even against a banged up Philadelphia secondary, I mean, Dak was out there lighting them up. Like Dak, like you said, Dak's on his MVP shit right now.
Yeah, and it's funny. I think I seen a graphic. I don't think it was last night. It was the day before. and he had the Jets. You know what I mean? All these stats of versus what they did against all the good quarterbacks. It was Jalen Hurts on there, his 3 interception game. Josh Allen was on there. I'm talking about all these guys, and they didn't put that pitch up there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? While it will be a narrative to kind of discredit what he has, he is crickets right now, man. And you know what I mean? He's up there. Completion percentage, I want to say he's second, if not third in the league right now. The passing yards is up. The touchdowns is up as well. And look, the interceptions is lower, man. Some of the guys is above him. I mean, you can name them all. Jalen Hurts is up there. Mahomes is up there. Josh Allen is up there. You know what I mean? But what do you know? While it was a narrative about interceptions, I don't think it's a narrative anymore. It only applied to him. And I'm glad he was able to come out here and kind of just, you know what I mean, redial everything and kind of just resurface. Because really, to a lot of people, it's like, hey, his Dak is playing well. But truthfully, Dak has had these type of games a lot in the past, man. It's nothing new to us.
No, for sure. And we talk about, stock up, stock down, stock rising. How about Rico Dowdle this week?
Rico Dowdle.
And we called it in the preview, man, that Rico was going to do his thing, and we needed him to come out and thump. You see it right here. 12 carries, 79 yards. You got the TD. I hit on that as well. But yeah, no, Rico, was this Rico's breakout game, or was it just a game script?
I think it was game script, and it's crazy because I don't really think they allowed him to break out. He had, just 12 carries, right? But it's like he had the juice, and they, you know what I'm saying? They kind of just split it up. They didn't allow him to kind of stay in there and get a feel for it. He was just, taking advantage of the opportunities he had. And Rico, man, I think it's time to kind of start having that conversation where it kind of reminds me of last year for a little bit. We had Zeke in there, you know what I mean? And then Pollard would come in and we'd be like, hey, like, you know what I'm saying? What's up with some of those carries that Zeke getting? And now I'm kind of on the other side of that where it's like, TP is in there. You know what I mean? You see certain runs where they run him into the teeth of the defense. He gets like 1-2. As soon as he gets some contact, he's going down. But Rico, on the other hand, and his touches, man, he's breaking through. Yards after the contact, he's looking good. Everything kind of flowing a little bit better. So I think it's a conversation of, you know what I mean, like Tony Pollard, hey, look, man, I think Rico deserves some more touches. And, you know what I mean, it'll be up to the coaching, obviously. I don't think TP will be back next year. I don't want to get too far into the future, obviously. But I say Rico, for what he's shown so far and the opportunities that he had, I think he's kind of elevating into that role where he's not just seen as the second guy. Into this later half of the season, he may just have to be a 1A, 1B type deal and actually, get some carries early in the game.
I think with Tony Pollard, man, so we saw last year, and you alluded to it, man, Tony thrived when he was number 2. I don't think Tony is a lead back. He does need that thumper, change of pace guy in there with him to establish things. So it's like throwing a change up at the defense. You know what I mean? Like, if you can shift speeds, but to come out there with Tony and Tony only, the defense gets used to that speed, and he kind of like can't really get it going. So I think if we can establish Rico as that thumper, if he can be that guy, more of Rico is more of Tony Pollard, in my opinion.
I like it. Yeah, he's becoming that guy. So I say feed him.
Just to stay on the offensive side. So another key stat, Dak didn't get sacked either in this game. Dak was upright for the most part. And I think we came away with 5 sacks on the day, which we'll get into here in a second. But staying on the offensive side of the ball, man, I want to talk a bit about Brandon Cooks. So this is now, 2-3 weeks in a row?
Coming out party.
I like the way they're featuring him as well. 10 targets, which is kind of crazy given the game script.
Yeah, Cook's 8, man. And, you know what I mean? You look at these catches, man, the beautifulest thing about it is the downfield shots. You know what I mean? You see the one on the right sideline. I remember that was a big catch. Even the one I talked about with Dak getting hit, and he kind of put it on Cooks that I think was like a post to the left side of the field right there. Beautiful, man. And Cooks is kind of showing that he can stretch the field. All that we kind of wanted all this season is now kind of coming into fruition. He looks good. And 10 targets. Hey, look, I'm cool with it. CeeDee still got the 11. And look, Cooks was on the other side. Like, hey, man, he was feasting, man. So if this is what we're going to see moving into the next couple of weeks, man, now we're cooking. We're cooking. So solid game from Cooks all around.
That's what I hope we get more of this out of him. And we had a Michael Gallup sighting. He didn't come out there and mess things up too bad. I found that this speed thing on the next gen, right? So top speeds week 10, bro. Michael Gallup 1 and Brandon Cooks 7. Did not see that one coming.
Nah, they might gotta recheck the clock on that one. Look, it's crazy. I ain't know Michael Gallup had that gear, man. I have to check and see what his speed is like as far as like 40 times and things like that. But look, the fact is he came in, and I will give him this, with the limited opportunities that he had. The touches was down, but in the same breath, right? He made the most of those opportunities, like 2 catches for 76 yards. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's fine with me.
And he was moving on those two.
And he was moving, and he showed, like, some of the same traits that we seen from old Gallup, whether it was opportunities or we just taking more deep shots. But I mean, he's always been a guy that if you throw it to him downfield, like contested catches, things like that, he always showed up in those, those type of situations, right? It's more so like when the separation routes and the slants and things like that when he's covered. But I mean, if you send Michael Gallup on a go route, hey, look, man, 50-50 balls, he's that type of dude, man. So it was good to see him get back on the right side of things. Is he out of my doghouse? No. But it's a good start. It's a good start for sure.
No, that's for sure. On the offensive line, so I'm kind of going stock up on all 5 of these guys. I think Terrence Steele came back and had a better game, as expected.
Yeah.
Tyler Smith, my bad. Tyler Smith came out. He was blowing dudes away in the run game. He's playing at a crazy good level right now. Solid first-round pick. To the defensive side, man, I think we have officially found a magnet in Deron Bland. The ball just lands in his hands, man. Every week he gets a pick. And I think he's continuing that record for INTs in X amount of games.
Yeah, man. I don't know why they keep trying him.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. It's almost like they like Trayvon Diggs and out there. Man, they don't believe the hype, but I think every week, I think quarterbacks will learn, man. And you know what I mean? Look, pick sixes is just his thing. It's just his thing. If you try him, he's taking it there. And I can't help but think, like, man, if we had all our guys together. But, man, the future is bright with Deron Bland. I mean, I think he had dropped, like, since last week to, like, he was the lowest in passer rating allowed. I think he had dropped to, like, 2 maybe. But for sure, after that interception, he's back at the top of the league. And, you know what I mean, I think he's here to stay for the most part. You know what I mean? You might catch him here and there, like we know. But if you play around with him just a little bit, he's going to catch you for sure.
Who else you got for stock rising on after the Week 10 win here?
So I think I can say Jake Ferguson, right? Jake Ferguson continued. He had limited opportunities, right? But it's like when he caught the ball, obviously, you know what I mean, he did what he's been normally doing and what he's been showing the past couple of weeks. Also finding a way to get in the end zone again. I think that was solid from him. I thought D-Law, maybe I can just say the whole defensive line, because I would say this. Sam Williams continue to do, you know what I mean, what he want to do. He said, free me. And I like how he's taken upon himself that in those opportunities now, he's been earning those snaps. So Sam Williams, solid game from him. Solid game from, you know what I mean, D-Law. Like I said before, Micah didn't show up in the stat sheet. But, you know what I mean, Micah does Micah things. And I think all of those guys, you see Fowler able to come in and get a sack. Nova Gallimore late in the game, he was able to come in and find his footing and get a sack. You know what I mean? Even kick the guy in the nuts. I'm like, what you doing, Gallimore? But, yeah, the defense showed out, man. It's not much you can say, man. 86 yards allowed, you know what I mean? And DeVito didn't have a chance back then. I think a lot of that was those guys up front making the plays they made, and they made their presence felt early.
No, I think Sam Williams is an elite pass rusher. And once we get up big and we're able to just let him loose, man, he's a monster. Another solid pick as well by those the front office there. On the back end there, so Jordan Lewis, better game. Not really, no. I'm lying.
I won't say this. You're not lying. He didn't show up as much on the bad side, but it's like some of those the catches that they did had. Number 2, you know what I mean, where there was holding. I just kept seeing this number, and I'm just like, while the defense played great, you know what I mean, overall, I still felt Lewis was like a sore thumb that stood out and all of that. So still a player that I'm kind of looking for something else. I just don't want to hang on to this and then it kind of bites us at the worst time. And then, you know what I mean, we get deep into this thing and teams just kind of figure out, like, who can I target? And I'm willing to bet that they're going to look right at him. And, you know what I mean, teams are going to start identifying that they're going to be targeting him heading into this later stretch.
I wouldn't be surprised if he finds his way to the bench shortly. We got hitters on the way. We can easily slide what's his name in there in the slot. Your boy.
Mukuamu, for sure.
Mukuamu. Yeah,
I think even Nashawn Wright at this moment. I mean, like I don't know if Nashawn Wright is a nickel corner. He's a lengthy big guy, so it may not make sense for him. But I mean, McCormick has shown that, you know what I mean, in those snaps, you know what I mean, he can fill in and do those type of things. And look, I was looking at the waiver wire today. The Patriots just released Jack Jones
saw that.
for out of nowhere. And I mean, that's a talented corner. I don't know what happened there, but if I was the Cowboys, I would definitely be, you know what I mean, looking into that. Obviously, he got to make waiver wires. If he doesn't get claimed, I would definitely be one of those teams that just look and at least try to have some more options back there if we can.
But no, for sure. I do have a question. So since the bye week, man, CeeDee Lamb has been on an absolute tear, right? The conversations are coming out. Tyreek once named him as a top 5 receiver, but the conversation is kind of resurfacing. And is he slowly emerging as a top 5 wide receiver? His stats since the bye week, man, over $150 in 3 straight, 3 touchdowns in 3 games, and all the targets, man.
First time in NFL history too.
Right.
But like with those targets, like the fact is you see the receptions that go along with that. So it's like when you find CD, he just got a natural way of coming up with the ball. I mean, whether it's the yak, the one-handed catch, oh my God, that was that was
crazy.
smooth, man. And you know, CD is just a naturally smooth receiver, man. And it seems like ever since he came out and was like, hey man, look, just feed me the ball. It's all we need to do, man. Just continue to feed him. He continues to answer the bell over and over and over again. And teams just don't have an answer for him. And I love it. I truly love it. Like what is that? 10 games? No, I ain't gonna say 10 games. 3 games in a row, 10 receptions with $150. You know, first time in NFL history. And then you have the same thing where people say, well, they was going against bad teams. Well, you know, Philly was in there. You know what I mean? Mixed in
And
there.
Slay and Bradbury played.
Hey, and them boys is in there. And if it was so easy, why hasn't nobody else did it in NFL history? A lot of teams have stretches with games and bad teams and things like that. So don't discredit the guy. He's the truth. If you ask me, is he top 5? Yes. Top 3, I think he's making the case for it. He felt like he won. Look, man, he said he's going to continue to do so. And if you look at the schedule, you see what's coming up. I don't see no slowing down, to be honest.
I think so. If you had to name your top 5, you got that or no?
My top 5 right now, let's just say, to be honest, for me, Tyreek Hill is always up there for me. That's the top guy out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, AJ Brown, I feel like what he's done this year, I think you got to add him into that conversation. No order, by the way. I still think Justin Jefferson, even though he's hurt, it's just that he's hurt. So they ain't got no choice but to talk about these other guys. But he's been doing that for ever since he's been in the league. So I would say for me, it would be Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, and then CD right now. That's my guys.
That's my 5 too. That's my 5.
And then it's crazy because you don't want to leave out guys like Devontae Adams, but it's like recency bias. Like, what have you done for me lately? These guys are, you know what I mean? They showing their worth. So that's where's that.
And I get there would be an argument there between Jefferson and Adams, but we know what JJ's got. Adams, his quarterback situation stinks. So if he can get that play to be a little better, he could probably sneak his way back in there. But my top 5 lines up with yours in no particular order, any given Sunday for real.
Yeah, thanks.
Stock down. Anything stand out to you in this game besides Danny DeVito at quarterback for the Giants?
I mean, it sucks for him, man. I seen the clip, Dayball ripping into him, and it's like, man, listen, man, you throw him in the starting lineup. You know what I mean? Short notice, obviously, against Dallas with the offensive line that you have. Like, what can you expect? So sucks for him, right? But you know what I mean? It's kind of what was expected for us. So, I mean, we knew we was gonna get after him. And we knew we was gonna get after Saquon. Like, we shut Saquon down. If you look at the stat sheet, just a quick check. It would look decent for the most part, right? You would see, I believe it was 13 carries for 66 yards, but a lot of that came on that garbage drive where, you know, we kind of started weaning people out, and he got a huge chunk of that on that one scoring drive that they had. And I believe that they got, I don't know if it was a 7, but I know it was later in the game at some point, right? So, you know, the defense stepped up. If you ask me stock down, I mean, I don't think you can say anybody for their team even did anything good, but for our part, obviously, I would say Jordan Lewis, right? I don't want to necessarily put TP on there, but it's just, I think if it's more so something to talk about. I think as far as the conversation between him and Rico, like Rico is up. Where does that put Tony Pollard, who obviously they saw about equal touches, 15 rushing attempts for TP and then 12 for Rico. So I would say that. Um, Outside of that, I think everybody played well. I'm not. I mean, I think at this point, I think we'd be nitpicking if we was trying to find too many negatives. Obviously, there's stuff to talk about, but I mean, for the most part, I think everybody played solid.
I agree. And J. Lou, probably, as you said, is the only one. TP's teetering that line now because it's like, what are we going to get from him? Is this
Yeah.
it? Because if this is it, that's not $10 million.
No,
Not even
no,
close.
no.
And then you see Zeke have a nice solid game over there in Germany or whatever. So it's like, come on, bro. But a look ahead into Carolina and another easy game. And we don't got to get too deep into it. Is this one of those games as well where you think we'll be kicking our feet up by halftime?
I think so. I mean, it sucks, right? When I look at Bryce Young, I mean, there's a lot of excuses right there, and it's that yes, he doesn't have the help. Thielen is his number one receiver. I agree with all of that. And then you look over at CJ Stroud, and I mean, he's just lighting it up right now. So it's tough to, what I mean. Does CJ Stroud have more help? Maybe. But then if you look at some of the things as far as just like the eye test, I'm not seeing it all there from Bryce Young. In
He's
this
small.
first,
He's so small.
he's small, and then in this first stretch of his career, yes, there's a lot of quarterbacks that had bad starts to their career. Can he turn it around? Yes. But I mean, I think as far as just seeing the film, seeing what you're seeing, he doesn't look fully comfortable back there. And a lot of things we've seen coming out, he hasn't been there yet. And you talk about tough tests where you got to get this Dallas defense. You know what I mean? And the run game hasn't been great over there. Miles Sanders, he didn't got benched. Chuba Hubbard, I mean, is he decent? Yes, but is anybody fearing Chuba Hubbard? So I think the minute they shut down this run game and you force Bryce Young to, have to sit back there and go through his reads, then I think we can pull away from this one. And I think we'll be having our feet up again. Maybe earlier than expected for this one.
On a positive note, though, we're 6-3. We beat up on a bad team. We're looking to move to 7-3, beat up on another bad team, and that's the way we kind of got to roll. We are dominant at home, and we got to really fight to get some home field advantage in these playoffs, man. So we got to get a revenge game on Philly, and then just keep trying to win these easy games, man. I think that's it from my side. If you like what you hear, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe. You got any final words?
Nah, I mean, we got that dub, right? You talked about getting that revenge game. Look, we 2 back, but the 2 back don't seem too crazy right now. Like we firmly into this thing. Obviously, we got to see them again. They got a rough stretch, and this is what we want to do. We want to handle ours. They came out and handled, I think, the vibe as far as Cowboy community and what we doing right now. We can only control what we can control right now. And if it's going to look like this, look, I'm not going to sit here and even entertain that too much, man. We can only play who in front of us. So take this, enjoy the dubs, because the season goes by fast. So you think about the full picture of things and where we're trying to go. Don't worry too much about what we can't get to, what we can't control right now. You kind of just gotta enjoy it as they come. And this was a solid one all around. I appreciate y'all. This is the End Zone Experience. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with another one for sure.